Hey, thank you so much for this design submission. And in addition to notes that I'm going to submit, I thought I might make you a short clip to try to clarify things as much as I can. So this is the front fender tip that you guys created. And this gold element here, I actually wanted it to be down here on the tip of the fender. And then a red, dark red fluoro ray, I'm going to call these gold and black elements, I'm going to call them rays. I wanted that to emanate red on the top moving this direction. So I wrote notes about that, but I just want to kind of explain it. So red on the tip, and then as if this pattern was turned completely around, with the what is gold here would be red, would be here, and then the various rays would be emanating out. By the way, it's okay if it only has like 3 or 4 rays coming out from this center point. It doesn't bother me at all. It doesn't have to be 50 rays or whatever. I like the way this looks, by the way, this pattern, and that's going to come up later as I bring up some other points. So that's basically all I have to say about the front fender. So now I'm going to move on to the front number panel. So regarding this number panel, the 74 was actually just something I was showing you for the font that I liked. I'd actually wanted the number 00 to be here and 00 to be everywhere. From the front fender, if the rays are emanating upwards and kind of as if they were blending on to the front fender, this border would end up being red instead of black. So I'd prefer that it be a black border. And then I would prefer that this be a red border and not black. In addition, I would prefer that this yellow not be quite so angular, and I know that I submitted a picture from my go-kart that has this kind of choppy effect, but I was really looking for something more like traditional that kind of followed the contours of this shape, yellow background. The number colors and everything are fine, but 00 please. So that's all on that. So moving over to something that actually is a little bit more complicated to describe is the shroud on the side. So and I'll try to do the best that I can. So what I was actually wanting was, so each one of these rays, these kind of look like parallel lines to me, whereas these have some broadening. So they're narrow at the base and then broadening as they work their way away from this center point. So I wanted the same style that you had basically on this front fender. I'll try and pull it up over here. So basically the same style where I've got the narrow rays here at the circle center emanating broadly away from the circle. So if you come back up to this shroud, that's what I'm looking for. These to me look like parallel lines more. In addition to that, I don't want this black. The color that I'm looking for instead of black is a gold pattern color, which I submitted with my original drawing. And so basically this side is going to look fairly gold overall, with just a little subtle difference between the gold, the chrome gold, and this pattern gold. So it's going to look pretty gold. A couple other things. So this 108, the script looks great, but I'd like it to be like parallel to the CRF somehow. I don't know exactly where, but maybe over here, but I really would like it to be parallel, not at an angle like the way that it presents here. And again, I've got some notes on that. Now, moving on to the side panel. So, I'm going to submit a composite drawing of what this all looks like mocked up on the bike with the side panel, and the shroud. But I want these rays to kind of look like they're blending on to the side panel. And the way they present now, the rays on the side, the shroud, are going this way, and then the ones on the side panel are going this way. I want them to look as if they were all connected somehow, that they were all blending onto each other. And so even if that means that only 1 or 2 of the rays end up spilling onto the side panel, that is fine with me. One other thing to note, this 00 on this side looks good, but the 00 on the other side to me is tilting in the wrong way. It doesn't look right somehow. I don't know. Maybe we can play with that a little bit. I'm not sure. One other thing I want to mention regarding this red stripe. Since it looks like you can't continue the red stripe onto the fender, what I'm thinking might look better is to have a little bit of a red border here extending off to the top and then ending, whereas there wouldn't be any red in the back side of this panel. So a little bit on the front, kind of like similar to the style that we have here. So a little bit red and then working its way off of the back of this. So more kind of in keeping with this style here, repeated over on the side panel. A couple other small things. I don't know what this is. Frankly, I don't know what that component is right there. And there's another one like that on this side. I don't know what that is right there, those 2 rectangular strips. And then on the rear fender, this shape is not the shape of the back of a CRF. This is rounded somehow, so I don't know if this is the rear fender. I assume it is, but on a CRF, they're basically a straight 90-degree cut there. So I'm not sure if this is all we can do here, but that's a fairly small tab. So moving over to a different screen, I want to show you what a composite looks like of this bike, just so you kind of know how the bike kind of looks. So you can see here the way these rays are going, in one direction out from the center, and then all of a sudden they're kind of going a different way on the side panel. I want it to look as if the rays were, blending all the way from this center point onto this plate, onto the side panel, I mean. So I hope that makes sense. I'm going to submit all this to you guys in a Word document as well. But I just want to kind of clarify as much as I could. Sometimes it's easier when you explain something to someone using a personal interaction instead of type all the time. So anyway, that's all I really have. So I hope that helps you guys, and I'll post this for you or send it to you somehow. Thank you so much for all your hard work.